Welcome to another episode of the Bamboo Season Podcast. I'm your host, sober fitness coach Dorian Wormsley. Now, before we hop into today's guest, I want to let you know, coming up, I'm hosting a free webinar about how you can achieve sobriety and learning the psychology behind it. September 17th on Zoom. This is for people who are ready to take back their power. If you've been trying to stop drinking, but every weekend you turn back to it, I'm here to help you and get you on your sobriety journey. That's September 17th. It'll be on Zoom. You can check the link for details. Together, we'll take action to change. Now, one thing I do know or I'm familiar with is trauma. Being homeless as a kid, not having my father in my life, going to jail, falling from a 4-story window. My body knows trauma. And today's guest is an expert in trauma. She knows how you can release it, how you can recognize it, and she's honestly helped me rebuild my body and fix a lot of the shit that's happened with me. She's a licensed massage therapist, a wellness coach, an amazing mother of 3, and she's amazing at what she does. The one and only Gabrielle Funches. Or Funches.
Funches.
Funches. Welcome, Gabby. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you for having me. This is
You
cool.
are an amazing person and human. I've very grateful that we had met, almost a year ago now.
Yeah.
Yes, time flies. For the listeners who don't know, I met her at an event at a massage studio, IMR Massage. They had an event, and I literally saw you outside. And honestly, to me, when I'm in situations and people I don't know, if I see somebody who looks like me, I'm like, hey, what's up?
Are we talking about people who look like you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we sparked conversation and just found out we ended up knowing some mutual people.
Yeah.
Because you worked at Phase 1, so you knew Al, you knew Ryan, and that's kind of how our conversation began. And then I told you I fell from a 4-story window, and you kind of looked at me like, what the fuck? Like, interesting.
I want to touch it.
Yeah. That's what she said. And then fast forward, there was another event that they had at IMR. And at this point, I hadn't worked with you yet. And I was walking by, I was like, Gabby, look, man, I think it was my shoulder. Shoulder or my...
It was the shoulder.
Yeah, I think it was my
the
delt.
right shoulder.
And I was like, Gabby, I'm hurt. Like,
Right
do
pec.
you have any idea of what you can do? And you were like, you know what? Lay your ass down. Let's go. And you laid me down, and you were cleaning up. You were finishing. It was after hours of working.
Yeah.
But you were like, here, lay down. Let me lay the fuck down is what you said. And I lay down, and you started
Did I
working
drop
on
the
me.
F-bomb?
No, you might have just
Okay,
laid
that's
your
just
ass
how you
down.
heard it, or maybe that's just my tone.
Yeah.
Okay.
The tone. Maybe I'm delusional. It's a mixture of both. But I liked it because you stopped everything you were doing. You could easily been like, hey, I'm done for the day, like book an appointment. But you were like, no, I got you. Lay down. Let's see. And within 5 minutes, you did some shit. It hurt.
Okay.
But immediately I felt a difference and a change. And at that point, I realized, okay, I need to come back and I need to see you on a consistent basis because there's a lot of shit wrong with me. As you know, falling from a 4-story window 10 years ago, I've been walking fucked up for 10 years. So it's a lot of shit
I
that's
didn't
got
even
to
know
get...
how you were upright for as long as you were. After I got a good look at you, I didn't know how you were walking through the world, and let alone working in the industry that you work in.
Yeah. I mean, me either. I mean, part of it was knowing I survived that incident. My mentality was kind of like, forget how you feel.
Yeah.
Your body, like, you're here, go get shit done. And
Yeah.
that's literally how I move. Because I wake up, to be honest, I wake up in pain almost not every day, but I'll say 4.5 out of 7 days where it's like, but then I just think about that time when I was in the hospital bed and I couldn't move.
Gives you purpose.
Yeah. So I'm like, fuck it. I'll be in a little pain right now. But once I get up and move and I get to what I'm supposed to be doing, that's in the back of my mind. You know what I mean? So if you can, just give us a little bit of who is Gabby? Who are you?
I'm
Where'd you
still
come
learning
from?
that myself. As far as come from, that's an even longer story.
Oh, wait.
But-
Happy belated birthday. Her birthday
thank
was
you.
yesterday.
And we did come to the conclusion that I am 37. I am 37.
She's 30, just turned 37. She's a Leo, August 13th. So when you hear this, her birthday's August 13th. Go to her Instagram, give her happy birthday. Shout out to my Leos out there.
Yeah.
Fire sign gang. But go ahead and just give us a little bit about who you are and what you do exactly.
I'm a girl who has just found my way just wherever it is I'm supposed to be. I fell into massage in like 2008.
Okay.
Like I was working somewhere and I was like, I'm not built for corporate life. Like I'm not built to have jobs. My mouth is too reckless. I do things
Yeah.
on my own. Like I'm a little ADHD and it was just not working for me. And I was working with a girl who went was going to the school that I eventually graduated from. And what we do is when we're in school, we just need to touch people all the time. We just get this urge to like continuously learn and try things and things like that. So we're always looking for bodies. And she was like, "Can I try this on you?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Sure." So I just remember having this epiphany. I'm like, maybe, who enrolled you? Like, what's the process like? Like, it might be worth looking into. And I go and I meet with an enrollment rep, and we toured the school. She sat me down. It was really doable for me. And I signed up. And I was in class, I want to say like 2 weeks later, and I will never forget being in class like the first day. And like, I was like, I've never experienced love at first sight in my entire life. And I can't ever think of a time where I was like, this is for me. This is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to do. And that's been that ever since. And then I had to leave the industry for a little bit and come back. Whole nother side of the story. So when you ask who Gabby is, there's a lot of undertones here. So within that, I ended up having to find my way back to purpose, much like you in your training. And then it took on a totally different meaning for me. My body had been through a lot of other things. My mental had been through a lot of other things. And then I became a single mother in the meantime. So massage has kind of been like it's been my safe space. It's been my mental health. It's been my spirituality. It's been all of these things that push me forward through. And I find purpose in it. And I think when I found purpose in it, I always compare my career to something like the existence of Forrest Gump. So it's just, I always end up.
Real quick, what's crazy? I didn't realize that it was like a fake movie until I was like in my 20s.
Oh, all the historical fiction, you didn't know it was a fake movie?
I was like, wait, what?
That was what made it so great.
Until I got older and realized, like, wait, no way.
But that was what made it so great, because he was so oblivious, because he was just like on the spectrum.
Yeah.
That he's just like,
is that what it is?
Yes. Remember when he had gone to school?
Wait, no, I didn't know he was on the I didn't know he was on the spectrum.
So basically what they had called him retarded. So remember when he was talking about him going to school, and he was like this far under the mark. So his mom made sure he went to school.
I didn't know that till now.
You're welcome.
Wow. Damn, okay.
So if you realize through the movie, a lot of it is everywhere that where he ended up having some form of success or some form of merit, or just something was a total freak accident. He went to college from running from bullies. He ended up with, a Purple Heart from the military, or what was it, the Medal of Honor?
Yeah.
From learning how to run because someone told him to run.
Yeah.
You accidentally end up a shareholder in Apple Mac products.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of how I went about my career as well. Where I was just like, I find myself in these places when they're like, well, how did you find yourself at the top of elite sports? I don't know. Couldn't tell you. Couldn't recreate it if I tried. So in the midst of all of that, and still, growing up and raising kids, and I was a teen mom as well. So I
How old were you when you had your first kid? I forgot. I mean, we talked about it before, but
I was 15.
15. Your daughter.
Yes.
Okay, 15. Gotcha.
And then I was so good at bad decision making, I had another one right behind it.
At what 16?
Mm-hmm.
So they're usually a year apart?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. He was out here.
I was out here, man.
Yeah.
But that's when I came into massage, it started to life started to make sense. Like mental health started to make sense. Like a lot of life makes sense to me through body work. So like looking back on that now, where back then, you probably was a little different. I was a little bit of a handful, but but now it's more like I needed those experiences to be able to be this person that all of you guys look at me at without you guys realizing what you see when you look at me.
Interesting. And then so you have 15, at 15 you had your daughter, 16 your son, and then you have a third son. How old were you when you had him?
19.
All three before 20. There you go, busting out early.
But now I'm empty nesting before 40.
There you go. And what do they do now, your kids?
So my daughter, I believe, is going into marketing. My oldest son is a Marine. He's stationed down in Camp Pendleton. And my youngest is about to go into the Air Force.
Military mama. Let's go. Okay, I love it.
I know. So what I mean, that's the other part to it, too, is that when you kind of walk in those stages, I always wanted my kids to see me relentlessly be unapologetically myself.
Yeah.
But then also find the things that I love to do and thrive in them.
I think, when you said earlier, like when people ask you, how'd you get to elite sports and all this and that, and you're like, kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think personally, it's because of what you just said now is you're authentically yourself.
Okay. So did I ever tell you how I actually fell into sports?
No.
So in the midst of COVID, I was actually going to go talk to someone that I would love. I wanted to take him on as a mentor.
Okay.
And he was doing like a live interview with somebody. And I was like, well, I just want to come in and pick your brain a little bit, because I was working in the environment, and as a woman in professional sports, as kind of like a supportive role, not necessarily an athlete, it's not really a kind industry. So I was trying to figure out how I could make my space in it. So I go into this place, and one of the football players who was training was like, "Are you Miss Gabby?" I'm like, maybe. It depends on what you need, because technically I'm not supposed to be here, right? But he's like, well, I heard that you do massages.
He had an accent like that?
He's from Mississippi.
Okay.
He was deep Mississippi. And I'm like, okay. He's like, well, can you come to the house? Like, can you do X, Y, and Z? And I was like, well, I'm not doing anything, so sure, why not? And it was the first lesson that I got in why body work was so important in sports, and good body work was so important in sports. And me and this person worked so well together. And I think his first season that we worked together, he's never been injured. And we kind of had this really great dynamic. So he just started referring me out, and it was referral after referral after referral. So when they're like, how'd you get here? I was like, I don't know. I went to work.
Did you, what did you do to like perfect your craft or like get so good at it? Like
I never stopped learning.
Okay.
Even still now, I'm forever a student and forever a steward of my craft. It's funny because when you talk about your experience of getting on my table, I have this really hardcore belief in always being available for your purpose. That's the reason God gives it to you.
Damn, that's deep right there.
That's the reason God gives it to you.
Ooh.
So when you have things...
Say it again?
What?
What you just said.
You always have to have time for your purpose.
Always be available for your purpose.
You have to. God gives you these gifts for certain things, not for you, but for other people. So when we originally had the conversation about you falling out of a 4-story window, and my brain as a geek goes to, I want to touch it. I want to fix it.
Yeah.
And you show up, and as agitated as I wanted to be because I was done, I was like, well, it wasn't like he could get in while I was going. It's not going to take me more than that. Like, what's 20 more minutes? You know, so it's kind of like that. And I never stop. I never turn down any of those opportunities. I'm not afraid to work for free to learn. I'm not afraid to teach other people while I learn. So I'm constantly in a state of building myself and learning different things and meeting people in different places and being open to off the wall different experiences.
Damn. So I know with me, there's not too many people you'll meet, you know, in your time that fell from a 4-story window or walking, and you know how I am. So besides outside of me, have you had anybody else with like some what the fuck, like,
oh yeah,
accidents or injuries?
I specialize in what the fuck.
Without like sharing too much detail, I want, you know, privacy of
HIPAA
clients.
violations.
What kind of what kind of things have happened and they've dealt with?
I have one girl in particular. It's so funny because I had just seen her not too long ago. She was playing a sport, and she just had a chronic holding pattern. And she went to go see a chiropractor that adjusted her without consideration, and it forced her body to lock up her nervous system.
Really?
Yeah, I'd never seen anything like it.
Damn.
Who's another good one? I've seen people. There's a dysfunction out there. It's called Chiari's deformation, where the back of the head doesn't form correctly. So the central nervous system is exposed via the back of the head. So it makes them extremely hypersensitive to any and every form of sensory.
Really?
Yeah.
I never heard of that in my life.
That's all right. I see all types of stuff that you wouldn't believe. I've seen people like ejected from cars, and I'm trying, just like you, or I'm like, I don't know how you've existed for this long without something happening. And then what I usually tend to find out with having such advanced information is, and here's the purpose, some of these people are about this close to like having some form of accident or injury that will just put them down.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that was very amazing to me, because after I initially met you, it was October of last year. That situation when you told me to lay on your table, that was like February. So months later, I didn't work with you yet. Then after you gave me like pretty much like a sample of like, you're like, here, and you fixed me, you know, in a sense, you showed me something. And then I worked with you for about a month in March. I came every week or every, like 1 or 2 times a week.
I think we had you at like once a week for quite a few weeks.
Yeah.
And it's not really, and I think that's another thing too, is that it's not I fix you. It's that I make you aware of what your body is doing. And I help you gain an understanding that sometimes, a lot of times, the medical industry won't give you. And it's more so just through information. So I'm not diagnosing, I'm not prescribing. It's just, here's how diaphragm works. Here's how quad works. Here's how these things work and how they're supposed to work in unison. And if they're not working in unison, X, Y, and Z has to be an answer. It has to be.
I love it because it was 10 years, you know, since my accident. And I've went to doctors and did therapy and all these things and chiropractors and stuff, but it never felt like they were giving the information that you had given me in not a split second, but pretty quickly. And during that period I was working with you, I remember I shared on my Instagram how I felt emotional because, and it was crazy because I'm not an emotional person, but
there's some about getting answers.
It really was.
I didn't realize how far up shit creek I was with having answers for people, because to me, it's just like, I study anatomy. I love the way the body works. I happen to think the human existence is one of the coolest machines ever created. So like, for people who just want an answer or just want to understand themselves or have some form of a solution or a road to walk down, it's not, we laugh about it, but more people cry on my table than you think.
I believe it. Because like I said, it was honestly about getting answers, because for years, there's certain things in my body, how I moved, but my mentality was like, hey, you could be on the hospital bed dead or paralyzed. You're moving. So I almost accepted like, fuck it. This is how I'm going to be moving. This is part of it.
So the other part to that is when the body starts detoxing from its chemical response to your physical trauma. That's a whole nother level to that experience. Because like in your case, because you said you hit a tree on the way down, didn't you?
Maybe. I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Okay. If you didn't, then you definitely have purpose. I mean, you obviously do, but the fact nothing broke your fall is kind of nothing.
Yeah, nothing
short
broke
of
my fall. Maybe bushes on the bottom. Maybe bushes, and rocks, but that's it.
But what tends to happen is when the body's under stress, now you have chemical hormones and things like that, things that sets your body off to tell you something is wrong. And then what'll start to happen is the body remembers things. So your body will start to go through these cycles of anticipating danger and things like that, and it'll set off those hormones again. So you're going through, 10 years sober, 10 years since the incident this year. So 9 years your body was recycling chemicals of stress and inflammation and this thing and this thing and this thing. And then now it's gotten an opportunity to go somewhere else. So it's like now your nervous system has a different way to process its sensory, and it's no different than people being ticklish. You just want to cry.
Yeah. So you said, using me example, obviously still for 9 years it's been recycling. Are you saying that's going to continue?
No. So the whole point is the body is supposed to be able to put out anything toxic. That's what our lymph system is for. So once your body creates impact over and over again, and in your case, I think the thing that threw me with you was only one side of your upper body was working completely. So when you started talking to me about your shoulder, it's because your shoulder and your jaw was basically doing the job of your body wall and your ribs and everything else, holding you literally in place.
That's crazy.
Tell me about it. Imagine how I feel when I looked at it.
Because it's crazy because on my right side of my body, not numb, but
you don't feel anything.
I don't feel anything for the most part, like my glute, my ribs, and all that. And I remember when you started working on one side of my rib, the one I fell on, and I'm like, okay.
So that means nothing's moving.
Then you did the other side, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like, I felt everything, and I didn't put it together. Like, damn, my whole right side is numb.
Yeah,
like,
your body shut down. Instead of feeling whatever it was feeling, it shut down.
So would you recommend people to get body work done when they have physical trauma? Like, it's something everybody should think about doing?
Absolutely.
Interesting.
It's it's hard to have the opinion to say, I wish it was a lot more affordable, because for someone who works in the industry, I also have to earn a living.
Yeah.
But I do personally believe that people should not be paying so much to be well. Or if you're not giving them worth what you're charging, then now it's a problem, because I shouldn't even be seeing a lot of people unless, like, they're just sometimes with chronic cases, those people need help all the time.
Yeah.
But I shouldn't be seeing you for years for the same thing. You should be progressively getting better, and then at some point in time, just graduate on into maintenance, and you should just be coming to see me because you like to see me and I like to see you.
Yeah, that's how I was for a while. Yeah.
But that's always the goal. And then in turn, a lot of what's kind of happening is not that.
I'm looking at the questions I wanted to ask you, because there's some good ones.
Okay.
But that was flowing. That's good. I mean, you're good at what you do, man. I mean, it's crazy, and I don't even know how to explain it sometimes. When people ask me and they're talking about paying my clients who I train or anybody, and I'm like, you got to go see Gabby.
You're like, I don't know. Just go talk to her.
Yeah, because it's not massage. Like, and that's one thing that I really like too when we work together. Because I've got massages before, and I have a great massage therapist before. They're great. But when I started working with you, I remember you sat me up, or I didn't sat down. You, before we started, you were telling me, okay, what's bothering you? Okay, are you looking for a massage, or are you want to fix your shit?
Now that I did say.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, I want to fix my shit. All right, here we go. Here's the game plan. And like you said, it's not necessarily fixing, but it was like becoming more aware. Like in that first session, I was like, oh shit, I didn't notice that my body was boom, boom, boom. But once you put it to my attention, I'm like, it's making sense now with certain movements I do throughout my regular day. You know what I mean? So it was just, it's a sense of care you gave. You know what I mean? And
because I do care. Like I have to be very cautious about how I express myself to clients, because I feel like once you become a client, I take personal accountability for your wellness. But with that accountability, I hold you accountable too. So if you're trusting me to do my job, I'm trusting you to do the same job for you.
And that's why today, when I saw you, I hadn't seen you since probably a few months.
Yeah, I don't know the last time I saw you.
It's been a few months, probably April-ish, before my birthday, before I left Costa Rica.
I saw you right before you left.
And I was nervous, because I'm like, okay, I hope when she in my head, I'm like, hope when she sees me, she kind of notices like some kind of difference. I don't know. I mean, I've been doing the things I should be doing, not to my best ability. I could do better. And
but to me, that's success. Like where people find like you are successful when you reach this XYZ space in your career. To me, that's successful. If I see you and you are better than where I left you, to me, I had a hand in that for you. That to me makes me successful.
Yeah, that's why when today you said something good, like, oh, you're looking a little better now. I'm like, oh, fuck, shit. Well,
you're like, well, thank you.
Thank you, shit. I've been, and then especially somebody in the wellness space, when I give my clients homework or something to do and they don't do it, it's frustrating, So when I'm working with somebody like you, in a sense, you're the coach for me, I'm like, I don't want to fuck you over, but not doing what you told me to do. Like, I'm waiting for you for help. Why am I going to help if I'm not going to put to work the information you gave me? Like, here, you want to get better? I need you to do XYZ on your own while you're home or while you go work out. So I made sure to implement that, because I don't want to take your help for granted and make you feel like, well, why the fuck am I, you say you want to help, but you're not doing.
More so, and this is the other part to that, like feeling like I take on responsibility for some people is sometimes, especially, and we'll talk about it in like the Black community specifically, is the risk of health issues. So we're talking about one of the most stressed out demographics in the United States, that now we're talking diaphragm doesn't work. So now you're putting compression onto your ribs and your heart. And then now we're talking nerve impingement issues. Like, to me, that's what rolls through my head, is trying to save you down the road of destruction from yourself. So if I see you start going backwards, the potential that I see in that isn't just you not doing your job, it's now your health is going to start declining.
Damn. Speaking of what you said, the most stressed, community out there. Are there any signs or things people can see about themselves, or if you have a dad, you kind of look, that people can notice that they're holding trauma or holding stress?
Yes, but you have to be such a grounded individual within yourself and within your own truth to be able to see it in somebody else. And you absolutely, if you're going to have the audacity to say it to someone else, you better be working on it for yourself.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh.
Why is that funny?
It's not funny, but I thought you were to give me like a different answer for that one.
But yes, I mean, in the short answer, yes, there are ways that you can see it. Now, if we want to talk a more simplified version to that, is when you start seeing them get like sluggish, or the short, shallow breathing, or mental health starts to become highs and lows. Like, I really think that a lot of mental health issues have a lot more to do with physiological things than they are like anything else.
One thing also that was very interesting to me when you were working on me was you able to notice things that
I see everything
that I didn't even tell you. Like you were doing something on I don't know if my ribs or something.
Your
And you were kind
diaphragm.
of like,
I was like, "Are you a weed smoker?" And
Yeah.
you're like, "Sometimes."
yeah. And I was like,
I always get that. Like, who asked you? Like,
Yeah.
get out of my business, woman. Like, but
what is it you see, or like, is it just the knowledge of over time people you've worked on? Like, how did you gain that kind of knowledge to?
So because I love anatomy, right? It was one of my favorite subjects when I was in school. And the more I started working with the body, the more I started understanding how it worked. So when we start talking about things like diaphragm specifically, the way that it sits inside of your rib cage is that it can only allow a certain type of movement in contraction. So if you are in that type of contraction, you are one of a few things. You've either been hit in your chest, you're an asthmatic, you're a smoker, or you have high levels of stress. And then in which case, secondary to that, now we're talking about vagus nerve issues. Now we're talking about pulmonary issues and not getting enough oxygen because your ribs can't expand because your diaphragm is overly contracted. So my brain looks at all of this in a matter of like that before I even touch you.
Damn.
But it's one of the reasons why some of the questions that I ask almost sound intrusive, because you have to validate it for legal reasons.
Yeah. Damn, that's good. Yeah, because I remember I was laying there and I'm like, what? I didn't even tell her that, I gave weed X amount of months ago. Wow. Let's see. Understanding trauma. How would you explain the concept of trauma being stored in the body to someone unfamiliar with the idea?
Unfamiliar with the idea of trauma being stored in the body?
Yeah.
So it's funny. One of my biggest pet peeves about the trauma storage in the body is when they're like, trauma is stored in your hips.
I asked you that question too. I remember.
But you're not the only person.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was interesting when you brought it to me, because most men don't really, that's not a big conversation amongst men.
Yeah.
So when I hear it out, they make it sound like trauma is like this dancing mystical force that just sits in between your legs, right? That's not what that is. Realistically, what it is that when you have a trauma response, you're either going to do one of a few things. You're going to hold your pelvic floor. You're going to hold your glutes. You're going to clench your jaw. And you're going to do shallow breathing. All of those things run in unison together. They will all affect each other no matter which one you choose to do. So it's not necessarily stored in like this dancing state that people want to explain it in. It's the body says, I'm stressed. So here's cortisol, here's these things, here's this thing, here's this thing. So now here comes adrenaline. Now your body's ready in fight or flight all the time. So realistically, what happens is you get stuck in a holding pattern.
Like getting ready to be hit or
because the first thing you
protect
do,
yourself.
if you're a fighter or trained in any form of like boxing, what do? You get stable on your feet.
Yeah. Interesting. Getting ready for battle. Because I remember what were you doing to me? Oh, you were working on me. You were, I think, on my neck or something, and you were kind of like, release your hips or release your...
Let go of your pelvic floor.
Yeah, let go of your pelvic floor.
You're like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm like, oh shit. But then I noticed once you brought it to my attention, oh shit, I am clenching up my pelvic floor for whatever reason. But it was just interesting that you're able to feel that by fucking holding the back of my head.
The reason I can feel it is because your back erectors run from your sacrum, from your tailbone to the back of your head. They run all the way up. Your pelvic floor is attached to your sacrum. So if you're holding onto it, your sacrum pulls downward and so do your erectors. So which means they pull all the way up here too.
If you know, what do you think is causing me or anybody else to want to?
Men and women are very different for their reasons why, I'm learning.
Okay.
Most men's reasons are different, but still row in the same boat of why.
Okay.
Most of it is stress. I think when I've watched it amongst ethnic men, so it's not just black men, just men that have, I don't want to say like ethnicity as a point against them, but sometimes it's hard in the world when, people have preconceived notions about certain things. So they tend to always be on guard. Men are always taught to be ready for anything and always prepared and always about their thought process. And what tends to happen is they hold on to that. And then how many men do you know with ACL tears?
Damn. Is it a real question?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I can't think of none, to be honest. Maybe myself. I hurt my knee recently, but
Well, didn't you just admit to holding onto your pelvic floor? You think you just started doing that?
yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. No, not just recently on my
Oh.
pelvic floor. No, but I'm saying agreeing to what you're saying.
Right.
Okay.
So, like, there's a lot of possible factors to it, but most of for men, it's that be ready for anything type deal. When it comes to women, there's quite a few different reasons. There's like SA, there's having kids, there's also this thing to be said that we have the most sedentary life now than we have ever had as a human species, and we're not supposed to be that way. So now we don't have the glute strength either to keep our pelvic floor where it's supposed to be. And then it plays its own role in creating that cycle.
So, with all the work you do on people, helping them. Well, I'm gonna ask you this actually: when you're in your work field, are you more so trying to help them understand, become aware of the trauma, or just fix their issues?
So we don't fix.
Become
right?
more aware of their issues.
Both.
So in your mind, that's like somebody comes in there.
Because one, if you do one, the other one follows. So no matter what you do, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, if you fix one, the other ones have to go too.
Okay.
They have to.
So when somebody comes in and they're coming for a massage or whatever, as you're going through and working with them, you notice certain things, or you try to ask like, simple general questions to kind of see?
So it depends. I know who I can and can't ask what to initially.
Based off what? Their energy, or kind of just
more the way that they present themselves. So it's not
Okay.
always just an energy thing. Like when I know my assault victims when I meet them.
How?
There's just certain ways they hold their body.
Really?
I'll never tell them that. Some people can't fathom being seen like that.
You say that, how they hold their body. Are you saying in the sense of like, as soon as they walk through the door and you look at them, or kind of when you start working on them?
When I start working on them.
Oh, wow.
So I know who my assault victims are, and I know who my C-section survivors are. I know my grievers, physical trauma like past sports or domestic violence, things like I know what I see when I see it.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't tell people all the time that I know what I see.
Yeah.
They just know they get off the table feeling better.
Yeah.
And then they start talking. Like it's usually around that second and third session. Now everyone is,
That's crazy because it's almost like but a lot of services you get with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like me, when I get a client for the first time, depending their personality or energy, they're probably more reserved, kind of they'll talk, whatever. But by 1 month, 2 or 3, they're fucking talking shit to me. They're telling me everything. They're gaslighting me, and
wait a minute, your clients gaslight you?
this is a joke. It's
Oh,
an inside
wow.
joke to me and my clients.
Okay.
They just
Like that's not really nice for someone who's trying to help you.
They honestly bully me sometimes. I don't know. It's okay. I get my payback during the workout, and
There you go.
do what the fuck they want. But back to what I was asking. Now, when you start working on them and you notice your grievers, your assault victims, do you adjust what you're gonna do?
I always ask permission
Yeah.
for the road that they're about to go down. So like when we start talking like psoas work, lower abdominal work, glute work, a lot of times when cranial sacral therapy, like there's some people who are like, that sounds great and that sounds amazing. So it's all fun and games until your nervous system puts you into an unconscious state.
What do you mean?
Have we not done cranial sacral therapy?
Maybe, but go ahead.
I know, you would have known.
What happens?
So cranial sacral therapy is a modality created by Dr. Upledger. So it's a gentle therapy. You don't even undress for it, but it basically allows the diaphragm lines across your body to relax enough to allow your nervous system to kind of breathe. So in the midst of that, when your nervous system starts to feel safe, what happens? Your body starts to go into a restful state, which is where your body starts to repair itself.
Shit.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, what's the movement or technique, or what does it entail?
It's a lot of spinal tractioning. So I'll do like sacral tractioning for people who have had assault. Usually I'll make them get dressed first, like at the end of their massage session. And we'll just do some gentle sacral tractioning, and it allows their spinal fluid to kind of create the flow that it's supposed to have. And it's a gentle movement. It's very non-abrasive. And then they get up and they're like, I don't feel lightheaded. I don't feel dizzy. I kind of just feel a little hazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
Is that something you recommend most or all people do at some point? I don't know if consistently.
That's hard to say because everybody deals with trauma differently. So like PTSD, yes, but you want to get a gauge of what type of PTSD you're dealing with before you put them in a state where they feel like they're out of control.
Damn. So with you helping people become more aware, not fixing their trauma physically, obviously helping them in a sense emotionally, what about you?
What about me?
Your trauma. Have you
dealt with it?
Well, I don't want to say dealt with it, but like, are you aware of it? And
Absolutely.
What have you done to help you get through it? Do you have somebody that's work on you? Do you?
So I have gotten more in the teaching realm now. So now I do. Most of it was me working on myself. And truthfully, what a lot of people don't know is a lot of the stuff that I learned how to do is because I taught it to myself by doing it to myself.
Interesting.
So there's nothing that you guys ever experienced from me that I haven't put myself through.
Yeah. What is do you have any trauma stories you would share?
I'd share. I'm an open book.
Oh, what's something that made you get inspired to want to go into the work you do and help others? Was there a traumatic incident in your past?
I wouldn't say it was about the others. Like I said, when I found massage, it was more about me claiming my independence because I can't work for mainstream America.
Yeah.
So, and then what it turned into was, oh shit, this stuff really works. And then it turns into, I remember being in school and I was like, oh shit, why isn't this talked about more often? Why is this not an option? And one of my instructors hit me with the most disheartening answer I'd ever heard. She was like, because there's no money in a cure. So I was like, that's fucked up. Like I remember getting off the table for craniosacral therapy and I had, so since you asked, we'll jump down this road. I was married for about a decade. I left around year 7. My ex-husband is a bipolar schizophrenic.
How old when you got married?
19.
And this is the father of your kids?
My youngest.
The daughter?
My son, Air Force.
Oh, youngest, sorry.
So the domestic violence didn't start until after I was married and after I had my son. So it was things like emotional outbursts that turned into like me getting my jaw broken or
what?
You asked.
I know, but I'm like, I didn't see that coming. I never knew this.
Nobody ever really asked, to be honest.
So I'm nosy as hell. So 1920, you got married.
Mm-hmm.
You already had your son, so now you got married. How long were you guys together before you got married?
About a year or so, like a year and a half.
And during that year, did you notice anything? Cool as a cucumber.
Nothing ever came to the surface until after
your son.
Yeah.
Around what age was your son by then? Like right when he was born? Those
maybe
first
3 months later.
Really?
Yeah.
And then all the signs started to show of him just not being mentally stable.
Well, it was just like, so mind you, when we're talking about people who attract, and I'm not victim shaming at all. This is my story. But there are things that say that you attract, certain things into your life. Yeah. And I think some of the things that were attached to me that attracted that was this belief that I was a very hard person to deal with. So his response to me being difficult was through violence.
Damn.
And it took years for me to realize, no, I wasn't that difficult. You're just fucking crazy.
Yeah. And it's not funny. I mean, I don't want to laugh at your trauma.
But here's the thing. For me, it's not, I don't live in it, which is why I can operate in my space that I operate in. I've worked through my stuff. I've come to terms with a lot of it. But this is my story.
Yeah.
So in certain cases, like he's the reason I have compression fractures from T4 to L5. That man broke my body up. I literally had to put my body back together.
How many years does it go on?
Until I left after year 7. And then after I left, he continued with the like narcissistic mental abuse of like the stalking and the calling my job and the like, Oh, he was a piece of. He was like he turned my life into like a Lifetime movie. It was.
It sounds like
it was
a fucking
twisted, dude. Like when I look
Tubi
back
movie,
at it sometimes, and I was
Tyler
like,
Perry movie.
when I look back at it sometimes, I'm like, dude, like I don't know if I was crazy or strong. I don't know what it was, but I made it.
Yeah.
But I literally had to put my body back together.
So as you're dealing with this with him for 7 years, the abuse, mentally, physically, was there a point where you wanted to stop or leave or anything, or what made you stay for 7 years?
He wouldn't let me leave.
Oh, so it was more like I'm gonna stay rather than get my ass beat.
No, it was like I'm gonna leave, and he's like, no, you're not. Well, then you're gonna leave. Well, no, I'm not.
Interesting.
And there was a point. So I've never really told this story before. Well, there are a couple of people who know me fairly well enough to know this story. When I was ready and I'd reached this point where I was like, this man is going to kill me. And I'm like, so I needed to make a drastic decision. So I made the conscious decision to cheat. And I told him about it. Just knowing I was going to be all types of dirty bitches and get out of my house and get out of my face and so on and so on. I was free. You know what this man told me when I got home?
What?
I forgive you, but just don't do it again.
What?
No, like instantly. Like I can't. Like he was obviously distraught. Like he was obviously in shock, and I'm ready. Like this is where my mind state was at. Right, I was prepared to die that day. I was prepared to like fight for my life,
knowing you're gonna tell him you cheated.
Mm-hmm.
Like you knew.
But at the very least, if I won, I was walking away.
Yeah, you're
and
done.
if I didn't, then you still can't have me.
Yeah. And he just said, don't let it happen again. What went through your mind when he said that?
So I was like, hey, Dad, I'm going to need you to come pick up these kids. My dad drove. He didn't know. He didn't know what was happening.
Really?
Yeah. He's like, you okay? I was like, I just need you to come pick up my kids. But I think my marriage is over, but I need you to come pick up my kids.
Okay. Well, what happened next?
My dad showed up and picked up my kids. And he was like, you okay? I was like, yeah, I got to handle this one. If you don't hear from me in the morning, call somebody.
This is after you told him you cheated.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, Dad, come get the kids. Why'd you tell him to come get the kids? What do you think was going to happen?
Oh, we were about to fight it out. And we did.
Wait. So you tell him. He says, I forgive you. Don't let it happen again.
Mm-hmm.
Then you call your dad.
Mm-hmm.
What happened when he apologized? What made you think you were about to fight after he told you?
Because he was that let me knew he wasn't going to let me leave.
Oh. So you're about to fight your way out.
Yeah. This was going to end today.
Today, okay. That reminds me of when Tina Turner was in the limo.
Oh, no, this was, Ike ain't never had his ass beat like that.
Oh. Okay, so your dad comes, gets the kids. What happens next?
I want to say he attempted to, like, try to have a conversation. And I'm trying to explain to him, like, I don't want to. I'm not going to. Like, the whole point of this was not to, like, work this out. Like, I don't know what else you needed to hear of, I don't want to. I'm not going to. You need to leave. I'm going to leave. Whatever, all of them that you missed over the years. That's not a normal response. That's not a normal response.
Yeah.
So he's just like, I remember when I saw his mental crack. I remember like looking at him and I was like, ooh, shit. Like, oh, like you just hear, when you see someone snap, they say like snap, I saw him snap.
What did you say for him to snap?
That no, like there is nothing else. I'm not working on this. This is done. Here's X, Y, and Z.
And you just saw his mind like.
Yeah, and then he charged at me.
And what happened?
We had it out. You know what? I'm shocked that apartment didn't charge me more when we moved out.
And this is in Vegas?
Yeah.
And so he charges you. You guys are scrapping, fighting. What happened? Like after and during? Like
there was a point. I hope that I don't know if I hope he finds this or if he doesn't.
I'm gonna tag him.
I don't give a shit.
I'm just kidding. I don't know who he. I don't know.
He's blind now anyway. You can't see it.
Oh shit! I'll send the audio. Spotify.
So that's on the other end of the story.
Okay.
Karma has a funny way of working out.
Always.
Right. So there was a point I remember we got towards like the end of this fight, and I remember being so enraged. Like I probably could have killed him. And I remember looking at him and I was like, "But I'm not like you."
Wow.
And I got off of him and I walked away.
Damn. And this is at year 7?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the end.
Yeah.
So you thought the cheating was going to get you out. It didn't. It made things worse.
Mm-hmm.
You fought your way out. And after you got off him and said, what you just said, was it done?
Like the fighting?
No. Well, yeah, the fighting. Like the fight was over. And
it was
then
done.
what, you
And
left or he left?
Yeah.
Which one?
If my memory serves me correctly, this is some crazy shit. I went to bed.
Okay.
And locked the door.
You thought you were safe?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, at this point, I was already ready for the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
So my thing is, if you didn't get the point by then I don't know what else to tell you.
Oh, wow.
So in the next morning, I actually helped him pack up his shit.
Okay.
And I sent him on a bus to LA.
And he left?
He left. And then it was like afterwards, then came the 100 phone calls at a time and the 45 text messages and the like calling my job and calling my dad. Like it's so one form of abuse turned into another form of abuse that inadvertently turned into PTSD. Like a super complex PTSD. So him and I just kind of reconciled, I want to say within like the last 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Maybe 2.
And when he was like texting you all these things, what was he saying? Like talking shit to you, cussing you out, or kind of like trying to get back together?
It was both. Like it was psychotic. It was like, I love you. You're singing Always and Forever on my phone. And then sometime around 7 p.m. is like, bitch, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna knock out all your teeth. So
what?
I'm dead serious. I'm gonna kill your dad and all types of stuff. Oh, that man was wildin', dude. Like,
now you said he was what? Schizo and all these things.
He's a narcissistic, bipolar, paranoid, schizophrenic. Those are diagnosed.
By you or
no? They're diagnosed.
He's diagnosed.
He's diagnosed.
At what point did you realize he was diagnosed with that?
So, in the midst of the separation, in one of his attempts to kind of stay attached, he had a suicide attempt. So he tried to use me as his next of kin. So when they admitted him to the psych ward, now if he can't talk to somebody's gonna talk to me, damn it.
Damn. And during all this, the 7 years, and even the ending part here, and the suicide attempt, your dad still didn't know?
Not to the extent.
He just knew shit was rocky.
Right.
Damn. And what was it that didn't want you to tell your dad or your family? Because I know you probably wanted help.
I can't say for sure. Like, I can't think of a thought in my mind that was like, don't tell him.
Yeah.
I think I'm just one of those hyperly independent people that I feel like the less they know, like plausible deniability. Because if I had to have done what I needed to do in a certain type of situation, I didn't want them to be in a place to lie for me. Because if I did it, I meant it.
Yeah. Wow. That's a story right there.
So when people try to figure out why I get so good at this, I've literally put myself back together. That's just one.
So, all right, I'm asking you this, because now, when you got out of that 7 years later, right? So you're 26? 25? Is this already, have you already at this point experienced the first intro to body work?
Yeah.
That came after you got out of that situation, or
so
right
what
before?
ended up happening was, and it's so funny because nobody ever really asked me about my life. So when I came into massage in 2008, my mom used to say a lot that he would get jealous of my success or like what I could be or things of that nature. So he would do things to sabotage and destroy. So right before I graduated, like I want to say I was like 4 weeks away from graduating, he decides we're going to up and move.
Interesting. To where?
California.
And you moved?
At the time I didn't have a job. I didn't have a ground to stand on.
So you had to move.
Right.
4 months before your graduation.
4 weeks.
4 weeks. So a month before graduation, you move.
Right.
And how long did you move for?
So I think we were in California for about a year or so. And then it was when we came back was when like that was like the beginning of the end.
Oh. So when you moved back to Vegas, that was pretty much that last fight situation.
Well, it took years. It took years where I was like, when I came back to Vegas, I was trying to leave him in California and just come back here with my kids. And he's just, no, I'm coming with you. I'm like, fuck. you're my husband, so it's like, and I'm not gonna be mean about it.
Yeah.
But I'm very clear to you about certain things. And when we got here, and it's just like he constantly made a situation worse. So every time I would find myself in a position to go back to school or just finish my last 4 weeks, here he comes with the stalking, or like, now you want to take me to court, or the next, like, it was always something. I swear he could smell it in the air. It was like, she's having, her life is great right now. Let me go fuck that up.
Mercury's in retrograde.
Well, Mercury's in the microwave.
Yeah.
That's him.
Let me get her ass.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
there was a point, there's another story for another time that just was a catalyst for me, where I was like, fuck it, if I'm going to be miserable, I would rather be miserable and do what I love to do. So I went and re-enrolled in school, and this was like a couple years later. And I was out of school for so long, I had maxed out the statute of limitations where I could like just pick up where I left off.
Yeah.
So I had to start all over again.
Damn.
So I got 2 massage educations.
Damn. Well, that makes sense why you're so good at it. Went through it twice.
Went through it twice.
And now he's where?
I don't know.
And is your kid together with him? Is he your son in contact with him at all?
Yeah.
They have a relationship?
So, funny thing how karma works in purpose, right? Is that I feel like when I found my way back to this space in my life, and then when I graduated and I started doing all these things, and I started noticing like life would not necessarily be easy, but it would just get better. And the better my life got, the more I started noticing like he would have like health issues and things of that nature. So he had a couple of strokes a few years back, and then one of them left him blind, and so on and so on. So without me having to, like, my brain always goes back to that day where I tell him I'm not like you. I didn't have to do anything to you for you to get what you deserved.
Damn.
But what do we learn? You leave me the fuck alone.
Bro, what? Wow. You a whole ass advocate out here.
I've seen some things. But,
obviously, yeah.
But that's where the compassion comes from as well. It's like there's really nothing that you guys can say to me as clients and as people that I either can't relate to or heard of or have walked people through. I have no problem sitting in hell with you. We ain't gonna stay here forever, but I have no problem sitting here with you until you get it together.
What about the father of your first 2 kids? Same person?
No.
So 3 baby daddies.
Right.
Were those 2 abusive?
In the sense that you abandon your kids, I would say, but
yeah, but not like physically.
No.
But then again, they were teenagers. I'm assuming, right? When you guys were together. Damn. Then how'd you even meet this guy?
So I met him. I was working high end, like I think I was working for like FA or Schwartz or something, and I was. Damn, how did I meet this man? I've been repressed and blocked that shit out of my head. There should be no memory left of this person.
Oh, damn. I forgot to bring it back up.
No, it's cathartic. But I do recall we met at work, and we just kind of like sparked conversation. And looking back at it, but I think there's a dynamic to myself that a lot of people don't get, that even though I was like 17, 18, I was already living life. Like I was already being a mother and things of that nature. So I didn't relate to my peers. So with other adults, it was a little different. Now, at 37 years old, working in, health, that man had more issues wrong with them, because how could you have seen that in your good decisions? He's 9 years older than I am.
Oh.
I was easy prey.
So you were 19, he was 20, almost 30?
26.
What?
I was 17, 18, he was 26.
Bro, so he preyed on you, low key. He was a pedophile.
So what we learned.
Pervert.
So what we learned.
Stay away from older men. I don't know.
Or how about that? All of us aren't prey.
All of us are prey?
All of us aren't prey.
Oh, damn. That's crazy. Damn, he was mid to late 20s and you were in high school?
No, I was already done. I finished.
He just found you, young little Gabby, hot little thing out here.
See, and then you almost got hurt behind it too, so.
Damn. That's interesting.
God's funny.
Oh, man.
But, you know, when they say, like, I'm not super religious, but I do understand a lot of, like, certain things in spirituality. And one of the things that, like, I try and get people to understand is, like, when you talk purpose, I have this idea of, like, listening to how Christ was prepared for his destiny, I guess you could say. And I look at my life experiences the same way. Is without that experience, would I be the therapist that I am? Would I be the person that I am? Would I see things the way that I do? And the answer is probably no. My experiences are so unique. I don't even know other people have been through them.
I think it's a great perspective to have. I was talking to somebody yesterday about that. You know, she was sharing a little bit of her story, what she went through. Very similar domestic violence stuff that I didn't even know about. And I've known her for about a year. She'll be on my show in a few weeks, but she was sharing those things. And then as she said it, she was saying how people, you know, take their current circumstances or previous ones and hold on to them and keep that identity in a sense, you know, and kind of going back to what you just said of what I've become as good as I am what I did without going through what I went through.
Right.
It's wild because that's how I see my life too. You know, things I've went through with.
You know, I see the same
trauma.
thing for you too.
Really?
Yeah. When I hear you talk about your story, and I was like, I don't know what other thing that you need to prove purpose to you.
Yeah. Honestly.
And when you walk in purpose, don't you come across other people who are in theirs as well?
You do. And I think it's amazing, to be honest. I love when I hear somebody like you and your story, and I didn't even know all that.
Most people don't. I don't look nothing like where I've been.
I did not know none of that over the past year or so that I've met you, you know, so I definitely appreciate you sharing that kind of deep stuff, because there's going to be people who listen to this, women especially, who are going through it now or went through it. And it's just, wow.
Yeah.
I'm shocked, literally.
Why?
I didn't expect you to come on here. I was not expecting that.
Okay.
You know, we'll finish up here in a second, but it's not funny, but it kind of is.
Depends on how you look at it.
It's a video of Tina and Ike Turner, a video of them on stage back in whatever, and she's singing a song, and she's like, "What would you do if I started to sing off?"
He was like, I beat you.
He's in the background. He's on the microphone during the performance.
Yeah.
I'll give your ass a black eye.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm sorry, domestic violence told me to maybe think of that.
It takes you to a space.
Yeah.
But that's the thing too, is that when I knew I was in purpose, when I could let it go.
Wow.
When I don't harbor animosity towards him. I don't feel ill towards him. There was a point where I felt like I could have left my marriage a little differently, but at the time I really felt like that was my only option. So I'm good. Being good in that allows me to say, I can finally get back to myself and whatever that is. So if I have to, it was much harder to repair my body than it was to repair my mind.
Damn. You're resilient.
Oh, you had no idea. I'm telling you, at the end of the world, there's going to be roaches, styrofoam, and me.
Okay, ask you two more questions. We'll finish up here. So I'm saying, how can someone start becoming more aware of where they might be holding tension or trauma in their body?
Where or how?
Yeah, how can someone start becoming more aware of where they might be holding tension or trauma in their body?
So there's this trick that I will tell people, and it's kind of a good way to get self-aware. I tell people to do a body check.
Okay.
So just kind of sit and be still and figure out where you're holding your glutes, where are you holding your shoulders, where are you holding your jaw. Let go of anything that you're holding on to. Uh-huh.
I'm definitely a jaw clencher person. I've noticed when I work out, especially and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But after I started working with you, I started being more mindful of it, to be honest. So I'll make sure I relax and, you know, use my lats and not my fucking whatever.
Mm-hmm.
As we wrap up here, what is one piece of information? Now, I'm going to tell you right now, try to keep it short and sweet.
Okay.
To where somebody can hear it and take it immediately instead of just like a long drawn out thing.
Okay.
But what is a piece of information you can give somebody who's looking to, like yourself, transform and grow as a person?
You have to be ready to become who you were before life started fucking with you.
I like that, but it's like, how do they even know, depending when life started fucking with them? Because some people are unaware of.
So, keeping it short and sweet, you find the things that bring you joy. And then you put your energy into those things. Those are the things that keep you not distracted, but like in a space that is for you and of you. And those things that bring you joy is where your purpose is. And most people will find their way to wherever it is they're supposed to be or whatever it is they're supposed to be doing by the things that bring them joy.
I love that.
Same.
That fire sign energy. That's why I like you. You're Leo. I'm Aries. Aries are the leaders, and we just carry the rest of the zodiac. I didn't make the rules.
Let's not forget, you paid me to come see me, huh?
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Gabby, so much for
thank you for
taking
having
time and sharing some real valuable information when it comes to trauma, just in your personal story. You're always welcome to come back on. You guys, I'll add her Instagram, her business Instagram, and her information in the notes. Please go follow her if you're in Vegas. If you're not in Vegas, fly out, come see her. I'm telling you, she's the best at what she does. You want to become aware and fix your shit. This is the lady to get it done.
That's what we're going to call our first workshop. We're going to call it Fix Your Shit.
You should. It's good. Once again, coming up September 17th.
August 17th?
No, September 17th.
Okay.
No, not the event. September 17th, free webinar for those of you who are ready to take back your power and get control of your drinking habits. If you're looking to become more aware, you need help of where to start, this webinar is for you. It'll be on Zoom, so if you're not in Vegas, you can still attend. I'll have the link in the bio to purchase your Eventbrite. It's free, September 17th. Coming up next week, I got Rob Chandler on the podcast, so make sure you subscribe, tune in. He's an amazing coach. We're out of here. 2 words. Keep growing.
Keep growing. I like that.